Let's go ahead and jump back to the browser and go back to the PHP date page. I'm going to scroll up to the top and let's take a look at the different sections on this page. Now we are at php.net/manual/en, and then we're on a function page. Each of these function pages follows the same structure, and it can be useful to know how to read this. So when we're trying to learn about how to use date, we can first start with the description, and this says returns a string formatted according to the given format string using a given integer timestamp or the current time if no timestamp is given. So that makes sense to us now because we've used date and we know that the format was created by this format parameter here, and that we could either give no timestamp and use the current time, or we provided our own timestamp for a day ago and it provided the date for that. Now, if we're looking for the structure of how we would call this function, this is the line that we'd want to look at. So this says string, which is an indicator that date will return a string. It has the function name here, and then it has the parentheses that we would use in order to call the function, and then it has a list of the parameters that it will take. Now, it looks a little confusing here, but let's break it down. This first one is string format. So string is the type of variable, and format is simply a descriptive variable placeholder. So we know that this is a variable, it starts with a $, and it's format. When we look in the parameters section, we'll see that that variable aligns with the header. Now the next parameter here says int timestamp equals time, and notice that it's in square brackets. These square brackets indicate that this is optional, so we don't have to pass it if we don't want to. The int is short for integer, saying that this is an integer variable that we're passing, and it's also telling us what the default is. So it's timestamp, and it equals time, or the return value from the time function. If we scroll down the parameters, all the way past the format options, we see timestamp here, and it gives us a description of what timestamp means. I'm going to scroll back up to the top here. So this line gives us all the information that we need in order to implement the function, but usually we'll need a little bit more detail about what each one of these parameters are. And so that's why we would look at the parameters section. Let's go ahead and scroll down past the parameters section and look at return values. This tells us what we can expect back from the function when we pass something to it. It says returns a formatted date string. If a non-numeric value is used for timestamp, false is returned, and an e-warning level error is emitted. The rest of this page gives us some additional information, including some of the errors that may occur if we use this function improperly, a change log, which is a list of the changes that have been made throughout the history of PHP, and it also gives us some examples of how to use the function. This examples section is really valuable because it usually demonstrates the most essential ways to use the function. Let's go ahead and scroll down and take a look at these real quick. So these examples use a function called dateDefaultTimeZoneSet. So this is also a great way to learn about some new functions that might be related to one you're working with. So it has these series of echo statements. Now, we haven't talked about echo before, but it's identical to the way that we've been using print to print data to the browser. So this is taking L as the format parameter and then returning that, and it says it will print something like Monday. And then we have some additional examples here, and we can keep going through and learn more about how to use the date function. As we scroll down, there's some additional examples as well. And I'm going to keep scrolling down, and you see we have a notes section. This gives you some additional tips on using the date function that might not be clear after reading the other sections. Below this is a See Also section that points to other functions that might be related. So if we scroll down here, you'll see that there's a number of them. And this is also a great way to discover new useful functions. Or if date maybe isn't exactly what you're looking for, you might find something closer by checking out the functions in the See Also section. Below all of this official information is a set of comments that users of PHP have added, and these often contain useful code snippets that can be used in a variety of contexts, or examples of common mistakes that people run into when using the function. I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up to the top. Notice here on the left-hand side, we have some different indexes, and at the bottom here is a set of date time functions. So these are all subsections of the main book, which is called PHP Manual. So we can click on these in order to jump up one level on the hierarchy. At the same level as this date page, we have other functions as well. And this is yet another way you can discover new functions. It can be really helpful to simply read through the titles of these because most of them are descriptive. And if you don't know about them, to click on them every once in a while and read about them. This is a practice that I do when I'm trying to discover some new tools to use inside of PHP. A lot of times what happens is that you'll end up building code in order to accomplish something, and then you'll find out that PHP has that function already. So it's great to know more about what's out there now, so you don't have to duplicate that functionality when you start writing code. So far we've looked at several different variable types, including strings, integers, and Boolean values. In this next video, we're going to look at yet another type called an array.